lucky to get this lovely lady to come and talk to us today. Her name is Sinda Sutton. She is the new park manager at Oracle State Park, my personal favorite state park in Arizona. I've worked up there, I've done volunteer work up there, and I've hiked trips up there. I think it's a hidden gem. I was there this morning. Sinda has been part of the Park Service for almost 10 years. She previously worked at Archer Caverns and Fool Hollow, which was a place I didn't know about, so I'm gonna have to check that out. She arrived at Oracle in May, and she is a fifth generation Arizona. So I think we're gonna learn a lot from her. So without further ado.
I too am awful with microphones. Everybody hear me okay? Yeah. I always have to learn about voice and voice my hand quite a bit. But yeah, my name is Sinda Sutton, like I said, fifth generation Arizonian. So when I became a part of state parks, the favorite thing for me is to bring people out to the natural resources Arizona has, because the state has a ton of different types of resources, and also being a part of the protection of them as well. So Diana reached out to me and wanted me to talk a bit about Oracle State Park. But I'm curious, how many have actually been to Oracle State Park? Wow. All right. I have only been there since May. But, all right, so those who have been to Oracle State Park, what did you participate in at the park? What is your activity? Hiking. What was that hiking and what?
With the trailer out at the lake, right?
Oh, Arizona Trail, yeah. Love, okay. Star parties, yeah. There is a lot to do at Oracle. We are known in the state park system as the hidden gem of the parks. It's a 4,000 acre park. It is a wildlife refuge as well. But we have a lot more to us than just that. But honestly, we wouldn't be out there if it wasn't for the Kannally family. Has anybody heard of the Kannally family? So few of you have. Yeah, so they were a generous family that kind of deeded their property and their home to wildlife, or Defenders of the Wildlife. Later on, Defenders of the Wildlife gave it over to state parks, and we turned it into a state park. It is a historical park, so we have a historical ranch house that was built in 1929, or started in 1929, and was finished in 1932 by the architecture H. Newkirk out of Louisville, Kentucky. So what you're seeing right there is how you enter currently into the house itself. That is what is known as the solarium. It is where Lucy and Mary would actually go in and kind of tend to the plants that we enjoy doing. They used to have a little table in there and drink their tea or coffee as well. It is actually, even though it's being small, it's a 4-story building. And it is built within a hillside. Has a patio that kind of surrounds it as well. It kind of represents an Italian villa, if you ever go out there. The thing about the house, which is kind of one of my favorite things about it, is as you go in and you tour it, a lot of people, one thing that they want us to find is the bedrooms. Anybody who toured the house, did you find the bedrooms? No. There's actually no bedrooms within the house. The sibling company, or the group that came out, it was 6 siblings. Originally, the family came out from Illinois because they had 3 members that had tuberculosis. Oracle at that time, because the climate was known to be better to try to heal from tuberculosis. Sadly, those members did not make the trip. So the 6 siblings that came out, Lucy, the youngest, was about 7 years old, and they built this home. They originally lived, though, in the original adobe that was on this ranch. It was built in 1980. I don't have pictures of them. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any good photos at the time. They are currently condemned, so they can't be going through them at this point. Now, the brothers, they built on in addition to that adobe house, and then later on in the history, they said that their sisters went on a trip, and they decided the sisters needed their own space. So they actually built them their own cottage. They are known to enjoy shopping, so when they came back, they were super excited about having a cottage, but they were also a little disappointed. And when I heard it's because they didn't have enough closet space for all their stuff. So they actually did another addition to the Sisters Cottage to add a little extra space for them. So at some point, hopefully we can get a tour out there once I get the house is fixed. Now, the exterior of the house is beautiful, very artistic, but when you go inside, you can really feel the personal touches the family put into the house. They based this house out of a Mediterranean revival style. So that just means that red terracotta roof tiles, the designs of how the windows and the doors are shaped, and then the Morris influence is those archways that you're seeing through the house. The rooms that I got pictured, you're looking at the great room. So I talked about the solarium at the top. I didn't do a picture because unfortunately it's just our gift shop at this moment. The great room is actually where the main entrance was. So the family would have you come down to the cocktail patio, welcome you, bring you into the great room, and that's where the entertainment would happen. This house, they built it with different flares and from different products from different states. So that flooring, sorry, I'm gonna walk around. This flooring here that you can see, that is actually laid from Vermont. The person who built it for them actually laid it out and numbered the pieces. Similar to thinking about the London Bridge when it was brought over here, they actually pieced it together based on those numbers. The ceiling was from Oregon as well, and it actually has a working fireplace. So if you come out in the winter and it's cold enough, we'll actually have a fire burning in there for you as well. And then this desk, the reason I pictured it is one of the brothers, his name is Vince. He did the books, he didn't want to really do the ranching aspect of it, but he took care of their books, and this is his original desk, right here in chair. And then they go into the dining room, right down below. The dining room is important, and one of the reasons I pictured it is it brings to life the idea of the family. When you're reading the history books behind the Kannally family, they talked about how in this house, in that dining room, they ate every meal together except for breakfast. So they had dinner together, they had lunch together. So they really took that time to make sure that they came together as a family and ate together. So here that dining room is a very important piece of the history right here. Now the other part I like to point out again is the artistic touches. So what you're looking at is Lucy and a friend actually put their own personal touches to the house. So up at the top, that one that says Lucy's personal touches, you can look up and you will see the beams are hand painted. Around the bookshelves are also hand painted, and also the doorways too. Now, one thing that was interesting when I first got there is one of my rangers and I were kind of digging through stuff because we're a young team. Not a lot of us have been out there that long. And we actually found the canvas that they practiced this. Would you all like to see them? Give me just a moment to put some gloves on. Is it okay if I talk like this for a second? Yeah. Perfect. I told you I have a lot of voice. So this piece right here, if you come out to Oracle, you'll actually enter into the solarium, and if you look straight up when you walked in, this is under all of the doorways within the house. And as I mentioned, that is Lucy and a friend. I never did catch the name of the friend that helped paint these. And like I said, it was interesting to find, just because we haven't got a lot of history or information about the family. Because behind the story, they actually, in Lucy's will and testament, actually put in the clause that she wanted the whole family history destroyed. Yeah. So a lot of what I tell you is based on interviews from locals as well. Kind of dark up here, sorry. And I can leave these out. I just do ask that nobody touch them just because we don't want to get the oils on them. Yeah. And then can you see back here? Perfect. And then the last piece is if you see the bookshelf that currently has our geology stuff on there. I have the trim of that as well. And again, I will leave that up there so you get a chance to look at it. You can see the hand strokes on there. It's quite beautiful. The other part I love about the house is when you go through where you see the beams, and you look in that little doorway that's kind of pictured, you look into the bathroom that you see there. Lucy put that in as the carousel, kind of like the circus theme. It's quite beautiful. There's more to it than what I pictured there, but you can see around the windowsills is also hand painted. We currently have closed that off. It was a bathroom that was being used, but the house doesn't have running water anymore. And so we ended up closing it off so people kind of go in there and touch the paint that's starting to place a little bit.
What the items in the can?
The items in that cabinet you're seeing, that is actually our geology. So we have a wonderful volunteer who's a geologist, and so he actually built a whole section there based on the geology of the area. Now, Lucy wasn't the only artistic member of the family. We also have Lee. Yeah, so Lee Kannally, he was a World War I veteran, and he unfortunately was affected by nerve damage. And so one of the therapies that he found for himself was to paint. He taught himself how to paint. He also had a tick within his neck and his eye, so his way to kind of work through that affection was to lay his canvas upon his bed, kneel next to it, and then he sit there and paint. Based on what I've read, his favorite color was orange. You can kind of see that throughout his paintings there. And if you ever get there at the house and you look closer, one thing you'll notice is none of the people in the photos have faces. And it was because he couldn't do that fine detail of faces upon it. Based on the other research is that a lot of these pictures are based on memories that he had. So when you come to the house, you're going to see a photo of three gentlemen kind of cuddling, or not cuddling, kind of sitting around each other playing cards. And if you look right here, he actually did in that scene. One of the other things is he actually really enjoyed the ballet. It says at one point when he went to Russia, he got to see the ballet, and that was also Lucy's favorite thing to do too. So you can see him within the photos, the cowboy is actually him, based on what I've been told. And the ballet dancers is something that's a memory of him and Lucy. So I don't have the painting with me because I didn't want to take a chance of that. So I do have little postcards from our friends group. They are all home paints to be in the wrapper, but I wouldn't mind passing them around to get a little closer view of his beautiful artwork. I'll pass you. One thing I do really think about with his paintings, it comes from a personal family history. I had an uncle who was a Vietnam veteran, who unfortunately was also sick based on that war, and his therapy was painting. And one of the things I always learned is based on the colors and the style that you use, it could also tell you a little bit about your mood. And I always look at these photos, I'm curious about what was he thinking at the time he was painting this art? How did that help him in the long run? Yeah. Now, I showed you the house, I didn't show you everything, because again, I'm gonna try to sell you to come out and take a look at it for us. Come and visit. The other thing we have is, like I said, we do have the 4,000 acres, thanks to Lucy putting that in her deed, that would be a wildlife refuge, so that gives us a lot of trails. Now, a lot of you raised your hand, you said you hike there. Who has a favorite trail at Oracle? Yeah. So I know one of the road stand back there. I thought, yeah.
Geology Trail.
The Geology Trail. Have you done it by yourself, or did you take the tour too?
Well, we kind of did. We were just there last week, well, a couple days ago, actually.
Wonderful. Yeah, we do have the Geology Trail. In fact, we have about 24 miles worth of trails. This picture is just of a map that we have to kind of show the extent of those trails. One of the things we're also known for is we do have a little section of the Arizona Scenic Trail. You can kind of see it right through here. It's about 4 miles. I know somebody here was working on that today. We have lots of trails on the outs, or the further aspects of the park, but we also have some nice trails close to the ranch house too. Some of my favorites, I've done the Granite Overlook Trail. Great views, nice boulders out there as well. And the Nature Trail is very nice as well. The Nature Trail, you get to actually see a wildlife line that's near a watering hole that's been out there for quite a while. And I've actually seen some wildlife out there too. When you do come out, to Society Club, I might as well talk about our trails itself. When you do come out to hike, one of the things you can be guaranteed is views for miles. These are just two photos of some of the trails, and you can see the mountains off in the distance, you can see that desert landscape. In one of them, you can actually see the snow that had landed not too far before you took that photo as well. And then somebody mentioned about our Geology Trail. We do have a new Geology Trail. I believe it's just about 2 years old at this point. If you are one that likes to just come out and hike, but you also want to learn, we have our self-guided tours. You can kind of see that little information right there from our Facebook page. Tom Buckley, he is a resident geologist. He's also our volunteer. He built this program from the ground up, literally. So he has a brochure. You can also download his information based on that geology trail. So if you want to go out your own, you can. He has little markers that our friends group actually purchased for us to put out. And then if you really want to dive deep into geology, you can kind of get immersed in it with a tour by him. So it's a 2-hour geology immersion, and he takes you through the full geological history of this area. He'll give you the viewpoints to actually show you where an ancient lake used to be. He can show you the fault lines and the breaks that happened with that basin range got faulting that this area was known for as well. I highly recommend it. He does have some coming up, but I say go online because we only allow 20 people on each tour, and they do sell out rather quickly. You just have to register for it, and if you don't have an annual pass for state parks, it's a $7 maintenance fee to come in for it. Now, besides that, we also have different types of trails. That'll make the guy's mind. Yes. He's very strong, he's Iron Man at that moment, so. So yeah, there's family-friendly trails. My 4-year-old loves to hike. I have taken him on that geology trail as well as the Granite Overlook Trail. So our trail systems can go from easy, just wanting to get out into nature and enjoy yourself but not be strenuous, to about moderate. Based on the trails that I hike, I wouldn't put any at hard, but if you just want to get out into nature, these are those types of trails right for you. They're very well maintained, as I mentioned, with our 2 volunteers. We also have another one whose name is Scott. They actually will go out and they will drag those trails, they'll rake, they'll trim, just to make them out there for people to enjoy and not get caught. Definitely the ones closest to us. Now, we don't only just have hiking trails. If anybody has some horses, we actually do have equestrian trails too. The park itself being so big, there is an area, it's kind of a remote access. Anybody heard of American Avenue parking lot with Article State Park? Yeah. So a lot of equestrians will come out. You can do reservation-based to go out there. I know some people see us locked up. It's not closed permanently. Just because of the staff that we had to shut it down due to vandalism. So we do have a registration situation. If you want to come out, you can make a reservation, and then we'll get you out there. So lots of horseback riding trails, and we also do have mountain biking trails. So if you're ever interested in those activities, you can come up. I do have our brochures that will actually outline which trails allow dogs, which ones allow horses, just hiking or biking as well. Now, we do have, like I said, tons of trails, but that's also not just what we're known for. Some of you mentioned about a party that you went to. You know, we do have some amazing star parties. We have one coming up, in fact, February 10th. It's going to be the Love of Stars. So I'm sure some of you heard of Catalina State Park. So they're one of our partners. So they're actually partnering and doing an activity on February 9th with the Tucson Amateur Astronomers Association, which is who we partner with for our star parties. And then we are going to do an activity on February 10th, and it's going to be line dancing. Anybody want to go line dancing? All right, at least have one person. Yeah, so we're going to have a great time out there. Our star parties, they can range from small to large. We can have from an average of 100 to 150 people, sometimes even 200 depending on what we have going on. And the Tucson Amateur Astronomers Association will come out, they'll actually set up their telescopes, and they let people come in and take a look at the stars. And it's quite beautiful out there, nice clear days. Now let's say you don't want to come and have to deal with 100 to 150 people, and maybe you have your own telescope. I have an option for you as well. We have some of the darkest skies out there. I get told by many people that if you go to American Avenue, you can actually see the Milky Way. And if you don't believe me, there's some photos of it. Yeah, this one closest to me was the person who went out not too long ago and sent that to us through our Facebook about their time out at American Avenue. Like I mentioned, we do have the option of coming out to Starbucks as well. If you want to get out during the night, you just call us, let us know you want to go out there. It is a $12 reservation fee, so I'm going to be upfront about that. But if you have an annual pass, we do discount, $7 out of that. So it's just $5 to come out, spend the evening out there looking at the stars. Now, some other things we also have, and we're a little bit known for, is our music. We don't have the Catalina night that you hear, but we do have our own. This picture is from June. We had a sing-along star party. Anybody like to sing? I'm not gonna sing, sorry. But yeah, so we had a sing-along star party with a band here that came in, sang some really nice, fun songs. And so if you go to our Facebook page, you can see lots of the events we're gonna have. We'll also, in April, have music on the trail as well. We have a fantastic friends group that is helping us organize that, where we'll have musicians along the nature trail. That's gonna be coming in April 20th. So if you look at our website, you'll be able to see it from there. Something new that we've done this year is we did a cowboy campfire. We had a local rancher bring in some horses. We had a band sing some country western songs. We had a campfire going and people could bring their own food and cook on the campfire. We also had a gentleman who's our volunteer, Scott Lowry, who actually did some cowboy poetry as well. We're going to start doing more ranger-led hikes too. So if some of the newer members, if you're just getting into hiking, keep an eye out for that. We'll take you out as well. I did a birthday hike just recently to get people out into nature. We did actually a scorpion hunt hike. Anybody want to go see scorpions? Oh, okay. No, it is quite interesting to see them in their natural environment. We did that last year. We had about 40 people come. You have your little black light and our ranger who's up front, and Ethan Finch. He'll actually take you out and show you some of the scorpions and where to find them in a natural environment. And talk a bit about the benefits as well. So we will have more nature hikes. The other thing is something that we have been known for state parks. Like I said, hidden gem, we have a lot going for us. We just are hidden at this point. But we are also an environmental education center. This year, we are, like I said, a young team. We just hired our first environmental education coordinator, who is diving deep into reviving some programs that have been going on for years, but unfortunately when COVID hit, they have not been ran since. And so one thing you'll notice for is our environmental education program, Odyssey and Adventure. So we bring kids out from 1st grade to 6th grade and involve them into nature, sometimes teaching them about how they affect the environment and how they can utilize the environment as well, and how to utilize their 5 senses when they're out into nature. There's more to come with that too. We're really excited to start reviving and revamping and also building some gear to get kids out for us. Now, that's all I have for you all. It was going to be a quick presentation, but I would like to thank you for having me, and I'm up here for questions if you have. I also have brochures too. Yeah.
How many acres was the Kannally Ranch when it was before they donated the house?
I do. So, depends on the records that you look at, but the homesteading happened, each individual sibling actually homesteaded around the area, and all together they had about 50,000 acres.
Wow. I remember when you had a wildlife camera that you showed the nighttime visitors to your watering hole out there. Will you reinstitute that again?
We are working on it, yes. The watering hole, the well that it ran was actually not working. And so our lovely ranger Leonard and our volunteer Scott actually went through, got the old well running again, and then fixed the old pipes. And so we're hoping to get it sealed, because it does leak, and then we are going to start doing that again. We do have the wild cam out there right now, and so we're going to work with our marketing team to show what we have so far. I will say we've seen a bobcat, we've seen lots of javelina, deer, and some birds as well out there.
Is the park open every day?
It is, yeah. So I know in the history of the park, it was closed down and I think only open on the weekends. We are open 7 days a week. except for on some holidays, Christmas, and then we do close early for Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and then New Year's Eve as well. But we do have odd hours because we are strictly just a day use park. We have no real camping out there. And so right now with our winter hours, we open the gates at 8, open the ranch house at 9, and then we lock everything down at 5. So the ranch house will close at 4, and then we lock the park itself at 5.
So where in the park do you park for the stargazing?
So are you wanting the one where you're on your own or our star parties?
The star parties?
So that would be up at the ranch house. I do highly recommend if you want to come to one of those events to come early for parking. We have limited parking up at the ranch house and then we park you along the roadway from there. But you go up the very end of the road off of Wildlife Drive, which is our main entryway.
Could you open the park a little earlier and stay open a little later in the summer? Because it's not feasible to hike because it's too warm during the hours that you're open.
And I do understand that. It is something we're looking at. There's only 4 of us though, ranger-wise, that work out there. So working out a schedule is a little bit more difficult to make sure we have enough hands to be able to handle the rest of the daily procedures. But it is something that we have talked to as a team to try to figure out.
So at one point in time, they were talking about building yurts and doing that kind of thing there instead of camping. Is that gonna happen?
Not if I have a say.
I was wondering.
I know there's been lots of talk, previous directors at the time were looking at that. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything about that happening. We do have a rustic campground that we usually open up for the Arizona Trails. They come out with their volunteer groups. The Oracle Rumble coming up too, we open that for them. Boy Scouts have stayed out there. It's 15 sites, no water, no electric, no nothing. You're kind of just out there on rock pads. But right now, that is what we have planned to stay with, is just that.
Could you just talk a little bit about birding and the park? I know a lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's the Tucson Audubon Society. They do a weekly hike out there, at least a weekly or monthly hike on a Friday. Mary Ellen is the name that comes out, and they'll do quite a bit of birding. We are known for our birding. We actually have a Harris hawk nest that's near the ranch house. You can often see them out there. We have lots of feeders as well on the patio, so some of our birds will come out and tell us what we're seeing out there by the feeders too. The nature trail seems to be kind of where they like to go, the birding groups that we have, to go along that kind of wash area over to the wildlife line. So we do have an extensive birding aspect. If you look on our social media, we just had recently updated January's, what they found so far here in January. Where else have I worked? So I have worked split time at Karshner for a good probably 4 years, and then 6 years was up in Show Low at Full Hollow Recreation Area. Full Hollow, so it is a lake that's kind of in the central portion of Show Low. It's within a residential area, surprisingly, but it is owned by the National Forest, the state park suite concession. So it's I think 150-acre lake, so it's kind of a smaller lake than some in Arizona. And its historical significance is it was the town of Adair. So Thomas Adair came out with his family, they homesteaded in this little canyon area of that spot, and unfortunately wanted to farm, and they couldn't farm because of the way the land was kind of out there. And so in the history, they put a dam and filled over the town of the lake. So there's a lake, there's a town in the bottom of the lake.
Does the state make you move, or do you just choose?
So usually it's just that we choose to move. Yeah. So if there's opportunity, you can move from there. I started off as a park ranger specialist, which is what we call seasonals, and then I moved up from the ranks from there to park ranger full-time, and then park ranger senior, and then now manager. So if you want to move up the ranks, then it has to be like a regional. Wonderful. Well, thank you again. I'll have your hand.